Hello and welcome to Video Game Hangover. I'm Randy Dickinson and I'm in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
Hey, I'm DJ Ross. I'm in Mountain View, California.
On every episode of Video Game Hangover, we talk about the games that have been keeping us up at night. This week we're talking about Sledding Game, Dragon Quest VII Reimagined, and Neverness to Everness.
Ah, man, that's the only problem with playing a Dragon Quest game, is it just takes up the next 6 weeks of the podcast.
Yes, yeah, that is, I literally could have talked about this at any point since the beginning of February, because I think I have been playing it since the beginning of February.
Yeah, no, sounds like Dragon Quest VII.
Yeah, so this is my 76th and a half hour update on Dragon Quest VII Reimagined.
That's good. You love to hear it.
Yeah. It's I've learned a few things in my 2 full-time job weeks of playing this game.
You learn things about Dragon Quest, about yourself, about life.
About myself, about the universe, about life, yeah. Yeah. So this is the update. I haven't even finished it yet, so it's not even I finished Dragon Quest. I want to talk about it. I think I'm almost done, but we'll get to it.
I was like, yeah, that's probably like 3 weeks from now.
Yeah, God forbid.
Then becomes the end game.
Yes.
Oh, sorry,
yes,
the post game, whatever.
Yeah, the false spring,
false spring.
Yeah. The fake fall. So it's it meanders, for lack of a better word. I love it. It's beautiful. It's a good time. I'm quite obsessed with it, but it has a problem with getting to the point.
I don't remember if that was the exact problem I had with it, or I don't know if I had any problems with it, to be honest. But it wasn't the well, I should say it was a very like leisurely kind of game.
Yes, yeah. I think that's the I think I remember asking you about it before I played it, and because I think it has a bit of a reputation for exactly this, for like kind of not getting there in any kind of hurry.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think that the beginning was particularly a concern, where it was quite a while before anything of significance happened, I think. And I had read that the update, the reimagined version that I've been playing, kind of tightened up the intro.
Yeah, well, just based on the demo, it seemed like it was very like trimmed, but maybe they put more effort into tightening up the opening hours than the back half of the game.
I mean, smart. If the goal is to sort of get people to stick to it, then you really want to sort of nail that opening. But the back half, the hours that I'm in now, certainly do not feel trimmed. I don't know if anything shifted or changed dramatically, but it feels leisurely, to say the least.
Well, that's not necessarily a bad thing if you're still enjoying the game.
Yeah. I think I'm definitely still enjoying it. I wouldn't keep playing a game I didn't like, obviously. But if I'm feeling the pressure to play a bunch of other things that have recently come out. So I keep filling my Steam Deck with like wishlist games where I was sort of like, oh, I really wanted to play that for a long time and it just came out, but I still have 100 more hours of Dragon Quest I have to play.
Yeah.
And I have a bad habit of not finishing RPGs, JRPGs in general. So I kind of want to see this one through, particularly since I've gotten to 76 and a half hours and I don't want to bail here.
Yeah. You're really in the danger zone.
Yeah.
You're the Persona 5 zone right now.
Right. Like, was it all for nothing? So, yeah, that's where I'm at. But a little more on Dragon Quest a little later in the show.
Yeah, okay.
We have a stream announcement. We should get that out of the way here.
Oh, it's a good one this week.
At the beginning. We are going to stream some Vampire Survivors on Monday, May 18th at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. How did we land on this? We landed on this because I've never played Vampire Survivors, but I really want to play Vampire Crawlers. That's one of the games that has come out in the last couple of weeks that I am excited about. I played the demo for it. I think we talked about the demo for it when it...
I think we did, yeah. Or you did. I didn't play it.
Oh, gotcha. When it came out for the Next Fest a couple months ago at this point, and I was super into it. I played the demo a lot in my life before Dragon Quest VII days. And now the full game is out. I want to play it. And DJ has continued to say for the last 3+ years, you should really play Vampire Survivors. So I'm finally going to play Vampire Survivors. DJ will be my guide. There's a co-op element of the game, right?
Yeah, which I have not tried. So that'll be at least new to me as well.
Oh, cool. So yeah, we're going to check that out together. Coming up on Monday, the 18th, 10 p.m. Eastern time. Go to twitch.tv/VGHangover for that.
Yeah.
I'd love you to tune in. Yeah.
I am like 50-50 on whether you'll enjoy this or not. I honestly don't know.
I like the art style. I like the sort of generic Universal Monsters themed clip art, basically, that the game is assembled from, or I guess Castlevania clip art really is where it comes from, right?
Castlevania was kind of like the Universal Monsters clip art, the originator.
That's true. Yeah, but I don't really have a sense of what to expect when you talked about Vampire Survivors. And maybe we should just get this on the record now, because I'll probably feel differently when we record the next episode. Maybe I'll feel differently. The game that I associate it with is Smash TV. Or Robotron.
Okay.
And those are very old video games. So I'm curious to see how my sort of mental association with those very old games is challenged by the Vampire Survivors experience.
Did you like those games?
I did as a kid. I remember having them on whatever system we had them on. It might have been an Atari. Is that back far enough? Maybe not Smash TV. Definitely had Robotron.
Yeah, Smash TV is a little later.
Yeah. I thought those were kind of fun. I remember playing them quite a bit.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, that's not a bad sign.
What system was Smash TV? Was that PlayStation?
Smash TV was like arcades and like Super Nintendo. So like 16-bit sort of era. I don't know what else it was on. It was a little bit before PlayStation.
It's a twin stick shooter, basically, right? You're kind of walking with one stick and shooting with the other one.
Yeah. You're just like, enemies all around.
Yeah. Big money, big prices. I love it.
Money. Yeah, exactly. The weird, the guy with the tank treads.
Oh, and the internet says influenced largely by Roboton 2084. So
yeah.
The connection I'm making in my brain to those two games in particular is not unfounded, but we'll see how that translates to the Vampire Survivors experience.
Yeah, I am very curious to see how this will go, because it's just a weird game in general, and it's also it's a very layered game. So I feel like you're not seeing the entire game. I don't know how long the stream's going to go.
In the 90 minutes we'll be streaming it, I won't get the full.
Yeah, it took me a little while to get into it. We can have this whole discussion during the stream, but it should be an interesting time. And then you'll be all caught up on the Vampire Survivors lore for Vampire Crawlers or whatever.
Until the inevitable kart racer or first-person shooter comes out.
I didn't see this whole Vampire Crawlers deck building spin-off coming, so who knows what they have planned next.
Yeah, the deck builder is a pretty easy sell to me. I love a good deck builder. I love a bad deck builder too, honestly. But, so the Vampire Crawlers, it did not have to do a lot to pique my interest. I think Survivors might have to work a little harder.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
But should be cool. Should be a good time at the very least. Very different from the games that you and I have been playing together lately anyway. So for our listeners, if you want to check this out, we'd love you to tune in. Twitch.tv/VGHangover. That is Monday, May 18th at 10 p.m. Eastern time.
Yeah.
Should be a good time.
Yeah, it's been a while since I played some Vampire Survivors, so it'll be nice to come back to it.
Do we want to get back to the aforementioned Dragon Quest VII Reimagined?
Yeah, we can talk about that.
Yeah.
What's going on in Dragon Quest?
A lot of fake out endings. I don't know if a lot. And maybe I kind of want it to be done. That sounds very negative. I'm having a good time with it. Like I said, I would not play a game for 76 hours if I didn't enjoy it. But I'm ready to move on to other things. And there have been a number of things where it's sort of like, surely this must be the finish. This must be the end.
You're about to fight a big bad guy or something.
Yes, or I have just fought a big bad guy and vanquished something that appeared to be sort of like the important evil thing in the game. Oh no, wait, fake out. There's some other thing. Go do this other thing, and there's another big boss. Oh, actually, the fake out in this is there are 4 more big bosses.
Oh,
Yeah. And so yeah, it has just been a lot. And I'm a little over leveled, I think, maybe because I'm leveled all my characters to a very high point, and I've unlocked nearly every job on the job tree, all the ones that I'm kind of interested in, anyways. So I've got all of my characters at like the peak job for their fighting style, and this game has a moonlighting system where you can have a second job equipped, and you get all the benefits of that one too.
yeah.
So like I've got just tanks rolling across Estard in this game. And most battles don't last terribly long. I have died exactly one time in 76 hours, so I'm definitely over leveled.
Did you turn on any of those like accessibility settings? Because I know they added a ton of stuff for this version.
Yeah, I turned on a thing where you get more money because it was quite stingy. I don't think that's affected my leveling. It certainly has affected like what weapons and what armor I have access to. And I did turn on a thing where you heal to 100% every time you save.
Okay.
Which has always been part of has been an option, I think, at the when you go into a church, you can heal everybody and you can save the game when you go to a church.
Yeah. I feel like those are two of the lower impact settings you could turn on, because the whole thing, or my whole thing would be like, you barely escape from whatever dungeon you're in with your lives, so you go back to town and you go to the inn and you go to save. You just like those two things might as well just be the same action.
Right. And you hope you don't meet any monsters on the road.
Right.
To the inn. Right. Yeah. So yeah, I have a little bit of that drama. I've had a few where I've had a couple of characters just sort of limp back to the inn at the end.
Yeah. You're dragging a couple coffins behind you.
Yes, I've had one of those. But my main character has only died one time in 76 hours. So it's, I'm definitely, stronger than the game would like me to be at this point. So I may have, over leveled a little bit with some of the side quests and stuff like that I've been doing. I find the combat really fun, and I have some really fun weapons and abilities. The magic in this game is really good. So I have two really powerful magic users on my team, and they're super fun and do all these big showy spells. There are some bosses that you encounter at the end, and there is a drop that gives you some elemental power, and you get 4 of them, and there are 4 people on your team. So I've just given all 4 people on my team one of these elemental powers, and it's just an item. It's not even a weapon. But if you use the item during battle, it has this huge elemental effect. So one of them is just like lava pours up from under the earth and does like 1,000 damage to everybody. And one of them is like a tidal wave wipes out the entire. So like I'm really just spamming elementals at this point because those drops are so powerful that like just using my little sword is kind of goofy.
Man, I don't remember that. That sounds awesome.
No, it's a good time. Yeah. So I like it. The game is very appealing, but it does have a bit of a storytelling problem. Is that I liked, I think we talked about this when I first talked about the game, is that I liked that in the game, you thought you were the only island in the world. And this is not a spoiler. I think this is like back of box stuff. And through some events in the game, like other islands start popping up. So you start venturing out and exploring, and there's a whole story that emerges. And as you go to each island, there's a little like insulated story that's happening.
Yeah.
Where were they? What's going on? There's some intrigue, or there's a curse, and you have to figure out what happened and why they're cursed and blah, blah, blah. And so you sort of tie up all the knots on that island, and you go back to your home base, and another island pops up. You go to that island, there's another little vignette of a story. And I really like that about kind of like the bundle of stories that Dragon Quest VII is telling. As you get closer to the 70-something hour, all of those stories start to converge in some way, which is kind of interesting. So there's some like heavy lifting happening from a storytelling standpoint, which I really appreciate. But there is a lot of like talk to somebody for a long time, and now you have to walk back to the castle and talk to the king, and so you walk all the way over. There's some like on the field battles and stuff like that happen there, but it is a lot of like walking around and talking to people. And eventually you get like an ability to like fast travel, and you have Zoom always accessible to you, so you can kind of ping around the map. So there are some efficiencies kind of built into it, but it is a lot of like Xing through conversations with very verbose people, and I'm just like, I really just want to fight some monsters, and I really would like to know what's going on and wrap the story up. So So yeah, it's just it's getting a little tedious in the 70 plus hours with all of the exposition and all of the characters who can't just get to the point and all the fake out endings, because it really did. It has had me at least 3 times where I'm sort of like, this must be the end, and it's not the end.
Man, I do not remember the fake out ending stuff at all. But also, like, my memory of especially the last, I don't know, like 10, 15% of the game is pretty hazy.
It did the thing that I associate eternally with Dragon Quest IX, because Dragon Quest IX was like my first JRPG, and I didn't know what to sort of expect from the sort of the beats of this thing, and it had like the protracted knockdown, drag out, skin of your teeth battle with the monster at the end, and I thought, this barely survived. And then, oh wait, that was just my first form. So you get that whole thing where he's back up to full health, he's got a bunch of new attacks, and your team is just wiped out essentially. And it took me a number of tries to like get through that. And I had that experience in Dragon Quest VII as well, where it was sort of like, wipe the guy out, skin of my teeth, and he's back with a second form. And I'm like, oh, this is a Dragon Quest thing. And then it still wasn't the end. It still was more stuff, more walking around, talking to people, more mystery, et cetera, et cetera. So I like that games that I enjoy are kind of the gift that keeps on giving, but I would like to enjoy other games in the rest in my life as well. I'm not a young man. I have probably a limited number of days left on this earth, and I can't spend all of them playing Dragon Quest VII.
Man, that's dark.
That's a little dark, sorry, but yeah, it'd be nice to finish this at some point. Also, I keep finding treasure chests that I can't open.
Oh.
And I did a little Google foo, and it says, after the game, like after you beat the final boss, you get a key that will let you go back and open those boxes later. And I'm like, I'm never going to see what's in those boxes.
That's annoying. I don't like when games do that. If there's like,
no, it's a bummer.
I mean, at least give it to you, like, I don't know, at the point right before you're supposed to go to the last boss. I feel like that's a key point in any JRPG. It's like, okay, you got one thing left to do, so go and check off all the boxes that have been unchecked for the rest of the game up to this point.
Yeah.
But like, as soon as they give me something that's like, oh, here's something you can do after the whole game, or whether it's like a treasure chest you can unlock, or I think in the Yakuza games, just to pick a random series, they're like, they'll lock up a lot of just kind of convenience features behind beating the game. I think one of them, like, you can't use custom costumes or anything until after the game is over. It's like,
what?
Well, so why? I'm like, you're expecting a lot of people, or a lot out of people, if you expect them to go through the entire game and then just be like, oh, now I can, change my outfit or whatever. Like, let me just do that.
That's obnoxious. Yeah, I don't
remember that being. I mean, it's been a long time since I played Dragon Quest VII, and I don't know how much they've changed for this edition of it. But I don't remember the like post game chess thing. Maybe I just didn't do it. That's more likely. I don't think I played too much beyond the final boss.
I don't know that I will either, unless it's a thing where like I put it down for a little bit and come back to it later. But I'm not good at that either, given my track record in the past. But I want to do the thing. I want to say that I finished it, particularly as I'm approaching 80 something hours of this game. I want to be able to like tie it up in some way that I feel satisfied by my experience. I can't imagine. I can't imagine just trying to remember where those boxes were at that point. Now that I've gotten, I don't know, 25 islands unlocked, and
that's the other
each
thing.
of them has 1 or 2 cases somewhere that can only be unlocked after the game. And like, what's the point? Like, if I finish the game, what is going to be in those boxes that is going to be appealing to me?
Well, I assume there's some sort of super boss that they've added, or maybe he was in there originally, that you need all these fancy new pieces of gear for.
Yeah.
I generally don't do that in JRPGs.
Yeah. I did a bit of it with Expedition 33. Which is a much shorter game, but it has a lot of post-game stuff.
Did you finish that one? Or like beat the last boss?
Yeah, I finished it and did sort of there's like a summary story, and then there's a bunch of other stuff that kind of you can do in the world after that. And there's a ton of things in that game that like you just can't, like battles you can't hang in until you're leveled to a certain
right.
point, and places on the map you can't get to until you unlock certain abilities to get around. So I did go back at the end of Expedition 33, and I probably spent, I don't know, 10 more hours, 15 more hours just flying around and beating up bad guys that I couldn't beat up before. But that is one of the few cases where I actually stayed with a game long enough to do that, because typically I'm out as soon as the credits roll, or at least until I've killed the bad guy in some satisfying way. I'm usually not long for this earth. I'm definitely going to get on to other games. So yeah, I will see the end of Dragon Quest VII. I've had a really, really good time with it. It remains beautiful. It is a lovely game to look at and spend time in, and there are some nice quality of life things with regards to being able to like. You don't have to get into battles with like little early level characters on the field. You don't go into the whole like cutscene, secondary battle screen, turn-based thing. You can just slash them on the field and you immediately get gold points and a couple of points of XP. Your job levels up 1 or 2 points and you just run on to the next one. So there's a lot of efficiency to the overworld battles that I really, really like, which has always been a little frustrating for me with Dragon Quest games. One of the weird little like criticisms I have, one of the other weird little criticisms I have of Dragon Quest at this point is the developers have reused a lot of character sprites.
Oh, for like monsters and things?
No, for like villagers and like key characters, like the kings and of all the villages and the queens of all the villages are basically the same character model. So
but that's like a Dragon Quest kind of thing.
Yeah. I would like them to be a little more memorable. There's like a little old man sprite that they use in every single village, and he usually is some sage who shares information with you, so that it's an archetype. I get that, but like a couple of them are notable, and like you get really good information from them earlier, and then they come back later in the game, and I'm like, which one were you? which island were you from?
Oh, so like even some of the more notable ones are
which wizened old sage. So yeah, I mean, there are important characters that do have kind of dedicated like character models to them, but there are some of the kind of the one or two off village types where it is the same reused character model over and over, and I'm supposed to remember them by name, and I don't, of course, after 80 hours.
I guess, man, in a game where you have that many different little towns all over the globe, maybe it would be worth just putting them in a different color hat or something. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. Or some other little like personality quirk or something about their costume or something like that. It is just like, I don't know. I'm not sure what I sort of need or expect from it at this point, and to complain about it after 76 hours is silly, but it's just one of those things where I'm just sort of like, there's so many characters in this game and so many islands now that I can't possibly kind of keep them all sorted out in my brain. The game is really good at, when you like save and come back to it, leave the game and come back to it, is like, would you like a recap of everything that's happened thus far?
That's really nice.
And it gives you this little storybook kind of prose of all of the important story beats and where you're at. And that has been super helpful. I don't, obviously at this point I've not spent a lot of time away from it, but when I will save and close the Steam Deck for a day or two and come back, I'm like, what was happening? Where am I? What was I supposed to be doing? And that little storybook recap is very, very, very helpful.
That's really nice. I really like that more games are doing that. I do need them to take it a step farther, though. So after they finish reminding me what happened in the plot, they need to like reintroduce me to who my party members are. Like, here's your hero. You had him as a fighter, and you are leveling like healer for a sub job or whatever. Here's your caster, and then just like just give me the full recap, because I don't remember what I was trying to do.
Yeah, that might be helpful. That's certainly more helpful in like Personas, where the characters have very sort of dedicated jobs and personalities. Dragon Quest is still really just like archetypes. It's just really like, the girl is the magician and she does all of your healing. And so, yeah, I sort of get the role everybody fits into neatly because of their sort of like, because I've played Dragon Quest games before. But yeah, it's harder to sort all of that out, particularly in like Persona, where they all have like the major and minor arcana, and those all work together in different ways. And so, yeah, there's a whole 17 extra layers of wisdom you need when jumping back into a Persona game after a time away.
You should see my Google Keep. It's full of notes that are like, you need to talk to the leader of the basketball team next week, and you're trying to get this persona. And then there's like the Monster Hunter one, which is like, you were working on that Thunder Sword, and you need these 3 dragon scales, so you were fighting this guy. And it's like, looks just like, the notes of an insane person.
I have some of that in my where is it? Let me see if I'm looking at my Google Keep right now. Oh, maybe I don't. I thought I had a whole file in here that was like what everybody's sort of arcana was and which ones they play nice with each other. And I was clearly got frustrated at some point of Googling like, which character should I hang out with after school?
Yeah. That's I had that exact note. It's like, here are all the after school clubs you were considering. I think I finally picked one out, and then I just like took a break from the game.
But so yeah, Dragon Quest VII Reimagined is a delight and has been a really, really good time. But I'm ready to move on to other things in life. So my next update will hopefully be I have finished Dragon Quest VII, and here is some other fun new game I've started playing.
Hey.
But for now, I've really hope and think I'm quite close to the end of Dragon Quest VII finally.
I feel like as soon as you start running into the bosses that have like the big flamboyant second form, that's like the sign that you're in the final stretch. Not necessarily the last boss themselves, but like, okay, like now I'm really like things are heating up a bit.
Yeah. Even some of the game has cranked up some of the intensity with even some of the dungeon monsters, because I'm starting to run into the giant like gold golems and the big cyclops and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
They're huge.
It's like
kind of on the map.
The bigger the sprite is in battle, it's like, oh man, it's getting serious.
Well, and I hope that like I can just run up to them and slash them. And I know that I'm under leveled if it doesn't just let me slash them on the field, and I have to go into the the cutaway to fight them.
Mm-hmm.
And I have found particularly like it's usually the gold golems and the giant the cyclops are the ones that I run into the most. That I'll go to the cutaway and there'll be like 3 gold golems I have to fight. And I'm like, oh, they're really trying to stop me from getting further into this dungeon now. So, some of those have been knockdown, drag out kind of ones. But they definitely are sort of throwing some much harder enemies to me at me on the pathway to some of these other boss fights.
Oh.
The game's trying, man. I give it a lot of credit.
Man, I was going to say, I'd be so excited to get 3 gold golems at once because they drop so much money. Then I remember you have the little money augment turned on. So it's like, that's not appreciating the gold golems.
Well, it's funny because I have the money augment turned on, which gives you, I forget what the increment is, but it's like 20% more money from every encounter.
Scales off okay, interesting. Okay,
yeah,
well then,
but I also have each character has 2 accessories they can equip. They're passives basically, but they all have little abilities, and they're usually like costume pieces. But sometimes if you kill enough of a type of a monster, they drop a little, like a mini medal with that monster's face on it, and that has some ability of that monster. And if you kill enough gold golems, they drop a coin that you can then put in one of your character's pockets that increases your cash from encounters by 50%.
Oh man, yeah.
And it stacks on top of the other thing. So I'm like, I forget 400,000 gold coins or something like that. And I literally have bought everything I can find in this game, and I keep getting more money.
That's that's a lot of money for a Dragon Quest game.
So yeah, I've definitely broken the economy of Estard, I think. But yeah, it's a good time. I want to play it right now if I could.
Yeah. I'm glad you. I'm impressed that you stuck with it for this long, because can be a tough game for people to get into and then stay with. But well, that's good. I'm glad to hear it.
It's at its best, it's breezy. It's kind of consumable. I was certainly into the story. I was kind of into the characters early on. They're starting to wear on me a little bit now. I really liked, there are a number of the little vignette stories that really landed with me, that I was super invested in the outcome and trying to solve what was going on.
Yeah, some of them are really good, this one.
Yeah. And I remember really enjoying that about elements of Dragon Quest IX as well. So I really dig that kind of story within a story thing that at least these 2 Dragon Quest games in particular are trying to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, quite a good time.
Cool.
I'll keep everybody posted.
All right, next time I'm going to ask you about the Monster Park or the Monster Island or whatever it is.
The Monster Island.
Well, the Monster Village. What do they do in this? You can like send monsters to a village to live, something like that. Maybe
I don't know.
Maybe it's not in this one. I don't know.
I have not. I don't know. That does not sound familiar.
I completely ignored it in my first playthrough, so it's clearly not essential. But I was always thinking, like, if I go back and play one of these, I should see what the deal was with the Monster Village.
Was there? I've heard that in the original Dragon Quest VII and in the 3DS remake that there was a casino.
There was a casino. Yeah, that was a good time.
And that is not in the new version. They took that out.
Well, that's why you're at 76 hours and not like 96, because as soon as you hit the casino, you gotta play Pachisi or whatever it is until you like clear out all the prizes.
Yeah. And then what is the other? Oh, there's an arena. I have done the battle arena quite a bit, and the drops from the battle arena are really good, but those battles get intense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're and it's not even about sort of surviving them. It's about defeating certain enemies within a certain number of rounds.
Yeah, interesting.
So if you can, it scales. You have to fight like 9 bosses in a row, but you have to beat the first one in 4 rounds, the second one in 8 rounds, and it gets like really intense as and the rounds get closer and closer as you get further and further in. So those have been fun, and I don't think I've gotten through all of them, honestly, because some of the further ones are. I forget what the one was. You have to do it in 24 rounds, and I did it in like 27. And I was like, do I want to do this whole thing again and try to shave 3 rounds off of it?
Yes. Yeah, you do.
Yeah. Well, in this, again, me Googling, like, what is the reward for? And I'm like, more often than not, this is where the Falcon Sword is, which is sort of a legendary Dragon Quest weapon.
I think the Falcon Sword came from the casino, and at least one of the Dragon Quests.
It's in the battle arena here, so... yeah, so that's fun too, and that has been a bit of a time suck, but and that doesn't scale to your level, so you really have to kind of do that when you're at the right point in the game, because the levels of the monsters you fight in the arena are fixed. It's not set to where you're at in the game. So if you try to do it too early, you'll just die. So yeah, it's fun. There's a ton of stuff to kind of distract you in this.
Yeah.
Which is perhaps not a surprise statement for a RPG in 2026, but...
Well, I don't remember Dragon Quest. I mean, aside from the casino and, like, sometimes there's an arena, they're not, like, tons of side activities to do. Like,
oh, yeah. They're not Yakuza games by any means.
Yeah. I mean, well, yeah, Yakuza is a whole other level, but, in the later Final Fantasies, there'd be a ton of, like, mini games and kind of side modes you can waste time in. But, Dragon Quest, I feel like, was largely the kind of stuck to the campaign, and then maybe there's some post game stuff, but not even that is. I don't remember doing a lot of that.
What is Neverness to Everness?
Oh well, before we get into that, or just leading into that, I have some exciting news, which is after 13 years and across 3 separate PlayStation consoles, I have finally completed Grand Theft Auto 5. 13 years? 2013, I think that came out.
All right, well, I guess I shouldn't complain about my 76 hours then.
Well, I mean, okay, so I wasn't playing it continuously, like the same file for 13 years. That would be something. But
that's well, good for you. What is completed mean in this context?
I saw the credits on the main story.
Oh, wow.
No, I did not. I mean, it's not 100% save file by any means, but I got through the whole story. I mean, that's basically it. It's been, but I think this is my 3rd attempt to get through it, and for some reason, I was just stuck with it this time. Partially because
and it's a fresh start each time you try it, right?
It's a fresh start. Yeah, I played all the way from the prologue to the end.
Wow, that's intense.
It was, and I gotta say, as much as I clearly I did not bounce off it again this time. so I was enjoying it to some extent. I found like the whole thing was fairly underwhelming. Like I thought there was going to be a big, big deal finale, but it was just kind of, it was like the reverse fake out ending where I was like, oh, clearly like the big, final mission is after this one, because this is just kind of like this could be any other mission. They're just slightly more cops or whoever that we're fighting against in this one. But yeah, they just kind of all got together on the beach at the end, and the credits rolled, and that was it. Yeah. It was weird.
Congrats. That's exciting.
Thanks.
Which,
what were you going to say?
Grand Theft Auto 5 is not the playing pool with your cousin, right?
No, that was 4.
Okay.
Wait, 5 is the one where you're in fake Los Angeles, and you've got the 3 protagonists.
Oh, and you can switch between the three characters.
Yeah. Which is actually, like, at the time, it was kind of mind-blowing, because I don't know if a lot of games had attempted that, especially not a Grand Theft Auto game.
Yeah.
And it kind of, I mean, at this point, I'm sure there are plenty of games with multiple characters. And, Grand Theft Auto 6, I think, has 2 protagonists. But it did kind of make me, like weirdly wistful for the earlier Grand Theft Autos, where I felt like they were doing more to sort of like push innovation. Like the protagonist switching was a pretty big deal. I don't know what the big thing in 4 was. Maybe it was just the fact that, it looked so realistic for the first time. Like it was, even though that at this point that game was like 20 years old, it was pretty revolutionary for the time.
Oh my God, is GTA 4 20 years old?
Almost 20 years old. Was that like 2007, 2008? Getting there.
What year did Grand Theft Auto 4 come out?
2007, 2008.
2008. Oh my God.
So I don't know. I mean, it's, to be fair, I'm playing it 13 years later. So obviously a lot of the stuff that was probably new and fresh at the time has been done multiple times since then. But yeah, I just felt like it was probably not as mind-blowing as it would have been if I had played through the whole thing when it actually came out. So anyway, I got that out of my system.
Now you can finally move on to other pursuits in life.
Yeah, well, so that brings me to this other game, Neverness to Everness. I talked a couple weeks ago. I've got my eye on a couple of these like anime/gotcha GTA games. And this is one of them. This came out a few weeks ago, and it's kind of like an open world sandbox kind of deal, or at least it looks like it's trying to be. It takes place in an imaginary world, which is like clearly supposed to be Tokyo, or maybe like Hong Kong. It feels more Japanese, but it is also a gacha game, so there are a bunch of like weird anime characters and everything. But it caught my eye because it looks like you spend some time driving a car around, and I don't not like getting into like street battles or whatever. The combat is more sort of like hand to hand or melee based, like I was gonna say like Genshin Impact, although I didn't play a whole lot of that, but maybe something like Nier Automata. It's not so much like gun battles like in a Grand Theft Auto or any of the like Grand Theft Auto likes, like Sleeping Dogs or something. But I saw this, and the world looks super appealing. It's got kind of like like a very cartoony, like bright and colorful look. The characters are all kind of these flashy anime designs, which is pretty different, especially coming from Grand Theft Auto 5. And then I didn't know this component about it until I started playing it, but the organization you belong to in the game is called the Bureau of Anomaly Control, and it's basically like the Control Bureau or whatever they called the thing in Control.
Yeah.
Where you go around and you investigate. It's like the SCP Foundation or whatever, where they're like just haunted objects in the world, and you go and...
There is no anti-memetics division.
Yes.
Yes.
You just go around and investigate these artifacts, which I was like, man, that's unique. I mean, maybe not so unique in that since there have been multiple sort of takes on it at this point, but
But to combine that with a GTA-like anime kind of vibe?
Yeah, or just have that be the premise. It was not something I was expecting. So I was like, okay, that's kind of a cool angle. And then the problem is I started playing it, and it is just the worst. God, I was having such a difficult time sticking with it beyond the tutorial because it all the characters and the writing and the cutscenes are so grating. I don't know if it's like a translation thing, but it just has that vibe where I don't know if it's because it's like a gacha game, so all the characters are designed in a specific way, or maybe they're not designed in a specific way. They're just meant to be weird characters you gamble for. But like none of the characters act like real people who are, members of this like government agency or anything. They're all sort of like these airhead teenagers who are like, oh no, I hope I do a good job so the boss doesn't get angry at me again. Like, this is not the internal monologue of somebody who's, chasing down anomalies or whatever. This is like not somebody who works at the FBI.
Right.
The first cutscene, like the opening cutscene, there's like this huge, like, I don't know what it is, some kind of anomaly that's opened up over the sky in this city, and it's just like pandemonium. And here comes the Bureau of Anomaly Control, like star agents to put an end to things. And it's like, okay, first of all, it's like one, like this badass wolf guy in a vest and a tie. I think he has an eye patch, probably has an eye patch, but he's just like the coolest wolf you've ever seen.
And, if not, he should have an eye patch.
Yeah. Or at least like a big scar over one eye. I don't know. And then the second one is like this lady with huge boobs who's like a little like dommy for some reason, which is like, okay, whatever. Like it's a video game, so that's just how things are going to be. And the third one is like a really young girl who is like, she's a child. Like she should not be in the situation. It's way too dangerous. But she's like kind of sleepy and just drinking a juice pouch the whole time. There's like these storm clouds swirling around everything. And these are like the star agents that are supposed to clean up the situation. And I'm just like, okay. One of these games. But then, okay, so I guess I expect some amount or some lack of like cohesion between all the characters in a gacha game like this, because I feel like at a certain point they just design based on what people are going to, what is going to appeal to people to get them to pull the handle on the slot machine. Mm-hmm. So like I said, there's no like cohesion between any of these characters or like the character designs. It feels incredibly arbitrary. And then as soon as you meet sort of the squad that you're going to be working with, all of those characters are equally just weird and like nonsensical. And a lot of the personalities are also, they feel like just sort of like anime tropes. And I can't deal with it. So I had a very difficult time. I was like very quickly skipping through dialogue and just trying to get to actually doing the missions and not having to sit through these cutscenes, but it's rough. I feel like that's, as good as the gameplay may end up being or whatever. I can't see myself sticking with a game like this if it's just so grating that I'm just like, okay, now let's just skip every single cutscene and character interaction.
Ew, yikes.
So with that in mind, I was like, okay, well, so let's see if there's something here. Maybe the open world will be interesting. And the open world, it's really gorgeous, actually. Just the way everything is rendered. And like I said, it's very like bright and colorful. It's in a pretty unique setting, especially coming from GTA 5, just being sort of in a takeoff of Tokyo or somewhere.
Right.
But And it's like okay to sort of walk around. There are lots of interesting like shops and things you can go into. Lots of nice vistas. You can just sit on a bench and go into photo mode and enjoy the game that way. But like the driving is really not good. It feels like a complete afterthought, which is something I really enjoy about the Grand Theft Auto games. As much as they're maybe not the greatest driving simulators either.
I was going to say that makes one of us.
I feel like I actually really I think the driving in Grand Theft Auto 5 is like pretty good. It's like I was trying to think what is sort of my gold standard for driving in a video game, and I'm not a pro driver by any means, and I think it might be like Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Like that felt pretty good.
I think Sleeping Dogs, I think, is though.
Sleeping Dogs is also pretty good.
Yeah.
Like,
that had a whole like street racing like subplot to it, so it had like the driving and it had to be good.
Yeah. Plus, it was
fast.
made by like didn't the same developer make like Midnight Club or whatever?
Oh, maybe I don't remember that specifically, but it's interesting.
So you think they would have some idea of what they're doing?
Should nail that. Yeah.
Yeah, but in this, it's so like just overly responsive and just does not feel satisfying to drive a car on this. So I was like, oh man, so I'm probably not going to do a lot of that, which is a bummer because that's something I really like to do in an open world game.
Yeah.
And there's also, maybe I just don't enjoy doing this in open world games as much anymore, but just like causing chaos is something I would like frequently just get into in the old GTA games. And it feels like that is not really an expectation of you in this. Because, well, so first of all, you're like a cop. So, you're not supposed to go out on the street and start like beating up citizens. I think it's really funny the way they handle carjacking in this. Like if you need a car and you don't want to use the little like scooter summon that they give you at the start, what happens is you go up to a car like you would in any open world game with cars in it, and instead of dragging the driver out of their vehicle, you like hold up your badge and like you're just like, hey, I need to requisition your vehicle for whatever situation is happening. Which is like, oh man, that's a great way to handle it. And then sometimes they can just like the driver will be like, no, I'm really busy, you can't have my car. Which first of all, can you do that? Like, can you just tell a cop like, no, you can't have my car? But if they...
That was in a movie. What movie said it? This where somebody's like, I need to requisition your vehicle. And it was like Melissa McCarthy was the driver.
Oh, yeah.
She was like, no. No, it was Charles Grodin. It was So I Married an Axe Murderer. He's all, I'd like to requisition your vehicle. He's like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like...
He's like, please?
Yeah, like I feel like you kind of have to let them have it. I mean, it sucks, but whatever.
Yeah.
But then if they do that, you can just decide like, oh no, I actually need it, and then I guess you basically do carjack them at that point. But then you start to attract heat from like whatever the law enforcement is, and then it just turns into Grand Theft Auto with you have a wanted level and everything. So despite you supposedly being an upstanding member of this Bureau of Anomaly Control, you can still get into trouble with the authorities.
So it's kind of an interesting perspective shift from Grand Theft Auto, where you're not a criminal in this game.
Yeah.
But you're law enforcement.
Right.
Because there's that other anime GTA game, Ananta.
Yes, that's the other one. I want to play that one.
Yeah. And that you're a cop in that too. And I keep seeing it sort of compared to GTA, and I'm like, GTA is about being a criminal.
Yeah.
You can make an open world game, obviously, but not every open world game is GTA. So I've not played Ananta. I've only seen one little trailer for it.
It's not out yet.
But it's a weird perspective that you're law enforcement and not a criminal.
Yeah. So I don't know how that framing is like sort of preventing me from doing antisocial stuff. It's also it's really a pain to escape from the cops in this as far as I played so far. So that's like just extra incentive to not.
Do you think that is a
carjack
perspective, like a cultural perspective of Asian developers? kind of influencing that the cops can't be bad guys, really, and
I don't know.
Respect for police and stuff like that.
I don't have enough information to answer that question. Although
okay. I mean, you don't have to give me the definitive answer, but this is clearly there is a lot of antisocial perspective in a GTA game, and the cops are almost never the good guy.
Yeah.
So it's it's interesting that sort of Asian developers take a spin at the GTA formula, and you're a cop and you're respectful to cops and et cetera, et cetera. So I don't know. I'm just saying, maybe it's a thing.
Well, I've had similar thoughts. So I'm like, I wonder if this is why this is like this. But then are you asking why don't they just make a open world game where you're a criminal, or are you asking why does it feel like you're not like encouraged to do criminal stuff?
Yeah, or why you're, I don't know, you beat up cops and shoot cops and fight and roll over cops all the time in GTA games.
Yeah,
I've not played either of the games, the Neverness to Everness or Ananta, but I don't know what you're like the city in the game's perspective on the police forces. And is that influenced by the culture of the country that is developing the game?
Well, so that I don't know. I don't know what the general perceptions of the police in like Japan, or I think this is Chinese developed, are.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, so like in this, the police are the good guys. So at least as far as I played, maybe there's a huge twist later on. Who knows? I'm guessing there is not. But yeah, like when you are, if you are misbehaving in this, you're clearly like in the wrong. I mean, also just because you're a FBI agent, essentially. So like this is just another layer of like, you should not be acting like this. It gives you, it sort of adds to your wanted level. It doesn't add very much, but it still increments it. If you are in a vehicle and you like drive over, if you like damage public property. So if you if you drive through some like bollards or whatever, or like crash your car too many times, you won't get a full star or the game's equivalent of a wanted star, but you'll see the meter just like tick up just a little bit. So if you can imagine if you drove like exclusively on the sidewalk, you'd be in pretty big trouble. You could also just beat up random civilians using your regular sort of array of combat moves, which I have not done because that's like everybody just seems like they're minding their own business in this. There are no like muggers or carjackers roaming around like there are in Liberty City. So I don't feel like that sounds very Chinese to do.
Yeah. Yeah. What is the wanted level increase for like talking loudly on the subway?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, actually, so yeah, as soon as I read the thing about like, you don't damage public property, I was like, okay, well that's just like whatever the social credit system is manifesting in this game. Yeah.
In Japan, like if you litter in the game,
yeah.
If you don't take your trash for the day home to you and throw it away.
Yeah, you got to put it in the right. You put it out on the right day for the the burnable recycling or whatever.
Right. Yeah. You sort your recycling correctly.
And that's the whole game. Yeah, you never actually investigate a crime. So anyway, I found like, I really would like a game that is set in a world like this, and then maybe one that lets you misbehave a little bit, or maybe, I don't know, maybe if the world is good enough, I wouldn't need to do that. Maybe if there are enough cool activities, I would just do those instead. But the driving not being good is a huge sort of sticking point for me. The missions, the missions that I've done were fine. The combat is not incredible so far, but in these types of games, I find that like a sizable amount of the early campaign is super brain dead because they need to get people into it and so like learning the systems.
What is the combat? Is it gunplay?
No, it's like I was thinking it's like Nier Automata. It's like a lot of melee combos, and you can switch between characters. They all have depending on who's in your party, they have different sort of like elemental affinities and status effects they can inflict, which have not really been important at this point because the combat's very simple. But I think this was a thing in Genshin as well. I did not play long enough of that for it to make a difference. But I imagine, if you start doing really high difficulty stuff later on, it'll be important to really have a team that like synergizes really well.
Right. And how does the gacha stuff come into play?
It's pretty typical sort of gacha, like drawing for characters and bonus items and stuff like that. Right, it's like I feel like at this point, all these gacha games are basically the same. They just change the names of all the currencies and everything. So that's a little bit of it like takes some time to adapt to, and also not, because I'm familiar with how it works in other games. I'm just like, okay, so here's the premium currency, here's the slightly less premium currency. You use those for rolling on stuff, and then you get like characters feel like the big rewards from the gacha, and then there's a bunch of like upgrade items which I don't fully understand yet. But if you've played something like this, where you're like, if you played Genshin or whatever, you probably sort of have an idea of what to expect.
Right.
The thing that feels the most different about it in this is that instead of just dumping crystals into a slot machine or whatever, it's presented like a board game, which ultimately doesn't actually change how it works whatsoever. It's just a different way of presenting it to the player. But I think it's kind of insidious, because like you see the board and you see all the different spaces with different rewards on them, and then you roll a die and then move that number of spaces and you collect whatever's on that space. But the reason I think it's insidious is so you can see, I'm 3 spots away from an S rank character who I really want. So if I were to roll a 3, I would get that character. That would be super exciting. So I should put some more crystals into the game. But like, you don't have any control over what comes up on the die. So it really is just gambling again at the end of the day. It just sort of has the board game visuals to entice you to, roll the die a few more times.
Right. Just kind of masking the same old mechanics behind.
Yeah. So it's an interesting take on it, but ultimately it does not seem to affect how you actually engage with it.
Huh. Yeah, I had never heard of this before you started talking about it tonight. I had to check to make sure it was the name of if I had sort of gotten the name of it right. So it's I've heard of Ananta, and I've seen the trailer for that one. I thought this was that when you mentioned it, but that is apparently a whole other game.
Yeah, no, they look very similar.
Anime GTA.
I think Ananta was actually announced first. It had some other name previously, and that has been in development forever. Like, this was announced and then came out while the other game is still in development. So we'll see how it turns out. But I think like between the two, I was much more interested in Ananta, or at least they had much flashier trailers. They looked super fun.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the one I think that they had just showed at like Tokyo Game Show or something late last year, and everybody was like, "What is this?"
Yeah. It has like, it looks like it has way more sort of like activities in it. So I'm curious to see how that ends up. I'm still cautious because I think that is also sort of a free to play gacha deal. But I don't know if if the game ends up being fun, if hopefully the driving is good in it. If the characters are much less grating than they are in this, because I don't think I'll stick with this one, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm looking at some of the key art for Ananta, and some of these characters are doing some weird anime faces. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know what to expect. This should be interesting.
Yeah, it's.
Well, I mean, who am I kidding? I'm not going to play this. So I'll take your word for it. So.
Yeah, well, I just like the idea of an open world game where like everybody's having a good time, and they're not just miserable ex-criminals, and they're always murdering people and stuff like that. But it turns out that I do like to be allowed to just murder people on the streets every once in a while. Occasionally, it turns out.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, we'll see how Ananta turns out if it ever comes out.
You think you don't want murder, and then you miss murder when it's gone.
Sometimes it's fun to do a little murder, or maybe not murder someone, but just like slap somebody in the street, just like
sure,
I think, the fact that you are an ex-criminal in a bunch of Grand Theft Auto games, I mean, I guess you're just still a criminal. You're not an ex-criminal. But it kind of just gives you the permission to act out every once in a while, which is kind of the fun thing about those games to begin with.
Right.
So I never really thought about it that like in depth until I started playing this and just thinking like, oh, I shouldn't be doing any of that stuff. Like I shouldn't be like just shooting random people. So that was kind of a surprise.
All right. Well, Sledding Game?
Sledding Game. Played some of this. Did some sledding. Yeah. Did a lot of sledding.
Although not as much as I would have expected from something called the Sledding Game.
Well, they've made a point the whole time this was in development where, it's sledding and there's a lot of sledding stuff to do, but there's also all this other stuff because it's kind of just a hangout game.
This is one of those hangout games, yeah. And the hook is that you and a bunch of your friends, the game holds a lot of people, can hang out and do some sledding. But you can also do these other things at the lodge, which are like hot cocoa chugging races. And there's a ton of like spin to win kind of games and other things.
There was curling. And
yes, there was curling.
What else did we do? There was there were like some darts. Yep. Snowball fights.
We did play darts. Lots of snowball fights. Fishing.
Fishing, supposedly.
Yep.
We did get a fishing rod.
We got a fishing rod, but couldn't find anywhere to fish.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was actually something I liked about this, is that, you start it up and there's like a very slight tutorial. And then it very explicitly says, like, okay, I'm not going to tell you everything that's in the game. So I thought, oh, okay. So it kind of encourages you to discover what else you can do. Case in point, the fishing rod, we did not figure out where to actually use it. Like wherever the fishing holes are supposed to be on this mountain. But, something for the next time we play.
Well, and the game is kind of in a pre-release state, so it's not quite 100%, although I didn't run into any issues when I was playing it, really.
I fell through the ground quite a few times. But
I do remember you saying that.
Yeah,
yes.
It was fine, though. Like, it wasn't game-breaking. I just respawned back at the lodge.
Getting us into the same room was a little weird.
Yeah, that's like every game.
Yeah. But, yeah. So there are, you could just like sit around a campfire with your buddies and roast marshmallows if you want to and chat over voice chat. You don't have to like do any of the other stuff. So it is really good about just like leaving you alone. And, but to DG's point, there were not a lot of resources for us to like, we got the fishing rod, we wanted to fish and couldn't figure out where to do it. So I Googled where can I fish in the sledding game, and it was like, go to the top of the mountain. There's a fishing hole. And I'm like, every mountain is the top of the mountain. Which one specifically? And the screenshot was like white, which is snow. So I'm like, okay, either the game has changed since this person played it, or we're just not at the top of the right mountain. So you and I spent a lot of time trying to go like across the tops of all the mountains, starting to find fishing holes, and had no luck still. You said you stayed on after I disconnected and still couldn't find a fishing hole.
Well, I mean, I wasn't looking especially hard for one. And also we weren't being especially methodical about it. I feel like there's a good chance we just didn't go to the right mountain.
Yeah.
But also, I wasn't in a hurry to do fishing or anything. I like the idea that, maybe someday I'll do some fishing in this game if I find that mythical fishing hole, but there was like plenty of stuff to do otherwise.
I saved my in-game currency up to buy a fishing rod. I wanted to use it.
True. I mean, well, now you have it. It'd be way worse if you found the fishing hole and you didn't have the fishing rod.
True. But yeah. So, and there's a ton of like upgrade paths where you can get different hats and different scarves, and you can customize your sled. Different colors, different designs, little widgets that you can put on them to spruce them up and stuff. The sledding, when I did the sledding, like all the way to the top of the highest mountain and like zip down to the bottom, was fun, but a little floaty.
I think that's just because you're a little frog on a sled. Like, I thought the sledding was pretty fun. I like that it does feel like it takes some practice to really master.
Yes.
Yeah. Because
I agree with that.
I think my inclination every time I there's a button you press to bring out your sled, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I would be moving forward and go trying to bring out the sled, and I'd push the sled button, and because I was still moving forward, I would immediately tilt forward on the sled and wipe out. So it's just weird little nuances like that. I'm just like, oh, how do I bring out the sled perfectly? How much momentum should I have when I'm taking the sled out? That sort of stuff I think is really interesting. And I could see after you're playing this for quite a while, you're just becoming an expert sledder.
Yeah. The physics of that were a little hard to sort of suss out because there were points where I was like, oh, this clearly is a path that will take me to the bottom of the mountain, and there'll be jumps and other fun stuff, things to avoid. But then I would get halfway down, 3/4 of the way down, and I was sort of ground out. I'd have to pick up the sled and go walk to another place that looks like a downward and put the sled down. So I wanted it to be this continuous free flow kind of fun zen sledding experience, and I never quite got that feeling in the time that we were playing it. It felt like I had to work a little too hard to find good places to sled in the sledding game.
Oh, well, I think part of it is maybe you just don't have the right sledding line down the mountain.
Sled, yeah.
Right. But then I think some of it is just you gotta practice sledding because you have some amount of control over yourself and your orientation when you're in the air. Or even, when you're not especially far off the ground, you can sort of lean from side to side. At least that's what I felt like. And then there was something about if you land from a jump perfectly, you get a speed boost. So I was like, oh, okay, so I should be trying to do that every time because that's how you keep your momentum going. And then not once did I ever get the perfect sled landing. I was able to graduate from getting bad landings, would actually say bad landing or bad jump or whatever it was, to okay jump, I think. So still not necessarily something to be proud of, but still a slight improvement.
Okay is better than bad.
Right. I think I may have managed one or two goods in there, but never the perfect landing with the speed boost. But
yeah, you and I were trying to sort of suss out the whole, because as you're sledding down the mountain, there's a little ticker that goes up about good jump, good turn, good landing. And yeah, I think I was trying to sort of just sort of get it to be complimentary, and it was never quite. I mean, I played it for 2 hours, but never quite mastered it. Never quite got good landing every time.
Yeah.
But that's connected to the kind of the in-game currency. So you're trying to get as much money as you can to take back to the lodge to do the unlocks and play the games and stuff like that. So you do need to be good at sledding to get access to the other stuff in the game.
Yeah, or at least do a lot of sledding. Do a lot of bad sledding and accumulate currency.
Yeah. Well, and everything, even less throwing darts and stuff like that. If you get good bullseyes, and it was pretty easy to get bullseyes, you get a ton of currency for that.
Not enough to buy those premium sleds, though.
True, it's true. Well, it's meant to be aspirational.
Right, yeah. So you're going to have to play a lot of darts.
The internet did say that the hot chocolate drinking game, which is like a rhythm game, it's little arrows that come up and stuff like that, and you have to match it as they go by.
I forgot about that. Yeah, because you can just grab a hot chocolate and drink it. And I forgot there was actually a formalized mini game at one point.
Yeah. The internet says that is the best way to get currency in the game, because if you can get decent at it and get kind of a good flow state going, you can get a ton of money off of that. But
interesting.
I was not good at it.
I'll just put on some K-pop and then do my hot chocolate drinking game.
Yeah, but it was fun. It was cute. All the characters are little. I was a little bear.
Yeah, a bear.
Or a little frog.
Yeah.
Yep. Put little accessories on them was fun. Decking out your sled was a little obnoxious. It was harder than it needed to be, I think.
Yeah, that was one of the things that felt very early access to me. Because you just kind of put on some sort of, I had a little mushroom that I was decorating my sled with, and it's very weird. But you can do it.
Yeah. I like the idea of a hangout game, but I also like the idea of a fun sledding game, and I maybe wanted it to be more sledding than hangout.
Well, in the game's defense, we spent a lot of the session just sort of like trudging around the mountain trying to figure out what we could do. Like if we had just been like, hey, let's just sled for 2 hours straight, I think we could very easily have done that. But we had other goals in mind.
We figured out, or at least I figured out fairly late, that you could go to the top of the highest mountain and drop, because to get to the top of the mountain, you have to ride the ski lift. And it's like, not real time, but like you're on the lift waiting to get to the top of the mountain. But you can put like a spawn point at the top of the mountain.
That was key.
Ride your sled down and then just reset yourself back to the spawn point. So you didn't have to ride the ski lift again. I kind of wanted to like snap to like DJ spawn point. Like if you put one at the top of the mountain, like we're hanging out together, we're friends in the game together, we should be able to like snap to each other. If we go down different paths, we should be able to like reconvene easily in the game. At least at this state, didn't sort of feel like conveniently built for that. I don't know. It's early, and I'm into the entire concept. I just felt like it was harder to do stuff than I wanted it to be.
Yeah, maybe I'll add that later. I feel like you can just coordinate and put your respawn point at the same on the same mountain.
Yeah, but you and I at one point got super separated, and I was like, "Where are you?
Oh yeah.
How come I can't just spawn on you?"
Yeah, that's not such a huge deal though.
Yeah.
I am really curious about so this game has proximity voice chat like so many other friend slop games do. And I think it's funny because if you can imagine you and your friends hanging out at a campfire roasting marshmallows or whatever, and then you just hear one of your friends like flying down the mountain screaming on their sled, it would be hysterical with that proximity chat turned on. But like it feels like you spend so much of this game very, very far apart from other people, potentially, that I wonder what the actual experience was like. We were not using it because we were just on a Discord call, but
yeah,
I don't know. Maybe I don't know what the typical like experience for people playing this game is. Whether they log in and they're all just hanging out somewhere, or they're all sledding down different parts of the mountain. Maybe nobody uses the proximity chat. I was just like, I could imagine playing a whole session of this and you just like never hear anybody else in your party because they're all so far away from you.
A million miles away, yeah.
Yeah, but I do appreciate that it would be extremely funny to hear somebody go by on a sled.
I'm for science, I kind of want to hop back in and like go to like the busiest server.
Oh yeah,
because you and I did like a private one, so it was just DJ and I in the giant mountain resort in all the mountains, and it was pretty easy to get separated or wander away from each other. And I wonder how a different experience it is if you're at a server with like 50 other people, and everywhere you go, you're bumping into people.
That's a good point because they said it does theoretically support like 50 people in a lobby, which seems like a lot. Especially if everybody's just chatting. But then maybe it's just like being on a real mountain. Like sometimes you'll hear somebody, sometimes you just won't see anybody the whole afternoon.
Sure. Well, in a group of 50, there's going to be folks who do want to like just sit by the campfire and chat. And there's going to be people who want to go to the top of the highest mountain, or folks who want to go looking for the fishing hole. So I think it might get a little more engaging as those things kind of happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cute idea. I wasn't super sold on it. I didn't feel like, oh my God, I have to play this every hour of every day. But
I mean, I got the same sort of felt the same way about web fishing, which is like, yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
Just feel like hanging out with some friends for a few hours and doing a very mentally light sort of game.
Yeah.
Mentally non-taxing.
That's good. There's something to be said for that, definitely.
Yeah.
All right.
Hang out with activities.
Yes. Yeah. Words with Friends started it.
What? Oh, they started it. Yeah, I mean, we're really hanging out.
The original friend slop game.
But you were never hanging out on that.
It's true.
Unless until they invented the Words with Friends MMO.
Oh no, is that a thing?
I have no idea. But somebody's got to be working on it.
I'm sure. All right. We should wrap this thing up. If you need any more video game hangover in your brain, you should follow us on Blue Sky. We're VGHangover.com there. And you can always get show notes and links and tell us what you thought about this episode at VGHangover.com. We would love for you to join us on Discord. You can chat with us and the other members of our community about video games and all the other fun stuff that sort of overlaps with the world of video games. You can get a link to that at VGHangover.com. And we should remind you that we are going to be playing Vampire Survivors on Monday, May 18th at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Go to twitch.tv/VGHangover to tune in for that. What else? What else do I need to implore of you? Oh, please subscribe, rate, and review us on your podcasting app of choice, and maybe help us out by telling your friends about the show.
Yeah, we really appreciate that. Helps us out a lot. Just bringing new listeners. That would be great. What else is great? We'd like to thank Ray 8-Bit for our intro and outro music this week. If you'd like to hear more of his work, you can go to ray8bit.bandcamp.com and download his whole discography.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. We'll be back on Monday with Vampire Survivors. We'll be back. We'll be back in 2 weeks. What is time even? We'll be back in 2 weeks with a whole new episode in your ears. Until then, this is Randy Dickinson.
This is DJ Ross.
Thanks for listening to Video Game Hangover. Bye.
Night.